in the United States of America that breed children in order to sell them.
Our own government is facilitating the absolute destruction of the American immigration system, and I can prove it point by point. I'm unafraid to speak the truth. This is just data-driven and experience-driven.
Good men are violent, and that sounds like a weird thing to say, but you're not a good man if you're not capable of violence. You're not a peaceful man if you're not capable of violence. You're peaceful because that's the only speed or mode you have. That's the only thing you're capable of. When violent men are peaceful, that's something because they chose to be peaceful. And they probably could have ended this in a different way if they wanted to, but they chose to work it out because they can control their emotions.
That's a Jordan Peterson quote, which I think was great. It was that he said, a good man is a violent man that has it under control, or something along those lines. I know
that's exactly right. Yeah, I've heard that before, and that's the speech I'm kind of referencing. I've said this before in the past. He just said it better than than I did. But it's absolutely true. Like, you have to have violent men in a society, but you have to have men with self-control. And that's in several aspects.
I don't submit to no man. You don't tell me what to do. I'm my own woman. I'm independent. What does the word submission mean? It comes from two Latin words, sub, under, and mission. Submission means to come under the mission. Jezebel was dominant and she hated submission. You don't tell me not to bring the prophets of Baal into this land. I'm my own woman. I don't submit to no man. Her name, Jezebel, means unmarried. This is the Jezebel independent spirit. It's that they might have the title of wife, but they are fiercely independent. They're running businesses behind the scenes that their husbands don't even know about. They have bank accounts that their husbands don't even know about. But the godly woman, she's a helper to her husband, and she's on mission with her husband. It's not two people fighting against each other, building separate missions. A godly woman gets beside her husband and says, I will build the mission that God put in your life. I will come beside you. I will be a helper, and I will build the mission and the vision that God has entrusted you with. This is a godly, righteous woman.
If you treat a boy like a wuss, you'll grow up to be a wuss. If you treat a boy strong and you treat him masculine, they'll grow up strong and masculine. And it's really our responsibility with our boys to develop and raise up a masculine boy. That we don't treat him like a little wuss, right? Little fall down and poor little thing and hold him for 5 minutes. I saw that at the park. I almost see it every time, right? A little 3-year-old, a 4-year-old falls down and the mom goes over there or grandma goes in and just holds them, right, as they're crying. No, get up. You're going to be fine. No, we don't get to act like that. No, you're strong. Men are strong. We don't cry over silly things. We don't cry over spilled milk. We may cry over big things, and that's okay. We don't want to have an emotionless adult male. But in the same way, they have to have a strength, because if they cry over a little pain, I'm telling you what, grade school is going to be very tough on them because you're a wuss. Let's not raise wuss, right? Let's look into the future and look into the now and make sure to be strong. I watched my daughter-in-law with my 1-year-old grandson, and she's like, you're fine. No, come on, you're going to be good. He falls down. She's like, no, you're good. I love that, especially when it comes from a woman also, who is also going with the fact that you are masculine and you're strong. We are not going to let little problems, little setbacks, little things in this lifetime knock us down, keep us down, get us all emotionally a wreck. But instead, we're going to raise up strong men who can put their family on their back, and they can have a strength in their emotions that the family can rely on.
If you have a son who's a fool, you're going to need to teach and love and lead your wife to let him feel the pain of his decisions. Otherwise, he will never become a man who takes responsibility. And we've got an entire generation where boys, young men, are acting like fools, and the mom is there to rescue and save them. And if you're a dad, you're like, no, he needs to be hungry. Then he'll go find a job. Actually, he needs to walk to work, and then he'll stop drinking and driving. He needs to have his girlfriend dump him so that he can get his head on straight. True or false, men, a little bit of pain today can save a lot of pain tomorrow.
Watch this.
If you think submission is because the man is doing what you believe is right for a man to do, then you've missed your assignment before God. God will bless your obedience as being a wife. The Bible's full of it. Ephesians and Corinthians in the Old Testament. Just start looking for them. And I Please read Love and Respect. It will change your life. Submission does not make you a weaker vessel. It just makes you the part of the machine that is needed to function, but entrusting somebody else's responsibility that that's what they were made for, to do what God has made them to do. So I value submission. Submit one to another is not in the same way. He is not going to submit to me the way I'm going to submit to him. That's not even biblical. As he submits to Christ, so I submit to him who has submitted to Christ. If God has made the man the head of the house to love his wife as he is to love the church, God is going to hold him to a standard. God is also going to hold you to a standard. And it's not going to be dependent on, did you value him, or did you do right by him because he did right by you, or you did right by him because you did right by what God commanded you to do. You will see a dynamic transformation inside of your home when you begin to obey his word.
My grandfather once said, "A foolish woman treats her man like a slave and becomes the slave's wife. A wise woman treats her man like a king and becomes the queen." Ladies, respect is a mirror. The way you treat your man shapes the life you build together.
Welcome to Truth with JJ Carroll. I've been waiting all day to have this broadcast, to do this episode. Why? Because I think, I've been watching for seems like eternity, our nation just crumble. And every day I talk to people, interview people, I get interviewed, I read, I research, I look at my life, and you see complete chaos. Absolute chaos in America, in the world. Wars everywhere, natural disasters that we're finding out are really not natural. They're kind of man-made. We see the complete destruction of God's natural order. We've seen men completely emasculated. I am not a credentialed historian. However, I've researched, and I cannot find a time that I'm aware of where men became so effeminate. Maybe the men of Athens. But where was this in history where the masculinity was so vilified, so attacked, so minimized? In quote, the old days, before we were so enlightened, you lived or died with how strong your husband or your father was. That was the telltale sign about your place in society, how strong the men were. So I think do I think this has never been done before? No. However, I don't think it's ever been done on this level, this attack of masculinity, this elevation of the woman and femininity as if it's dominant over the man. This is history. This is human nature. It's not true. But I'll tell you what is true in nature. You create a vacuum, that hole or that void will be filled. It's just human. It's just nature. And almost all the time, that void is filled with irregularity, with violence, with disorder. And I'm going to give you an example. We have ripped the man and masculinity out of our society. Let's just focus on America and Western society, but more specific, America. We have ripped masculinity away from men and young boys and told them it's horrible, it's terrible, you fidget too much, you talk too much, you want to hit things, you want to climb, let's put you on Ritalin. Let's put you ADHD medication. Let's shame you so much so that you become obedient. Now there's this gigantic masculine void in society. Who filled that void? Do you think nature just moves on? We created this immense disorder in God's natural order, and you think nothing is going to fill that? Well, what filled that was women. Women, if you look around, women have become extremely masculine. Now we have a massive disorder. We all feel it. You may not understand it. You may not be able to articulate it properly. Heck, I may not be articulating it perfectly either. I'm just telling you how I see it. There is a change. There's a change in my son's generation. I see it. I don't know what they call it, Gen, whatever. Who knows anymore? I'm just telling you, this new group, this like under 24, under 25, is looking at the previous previous generation and going, you people are insane. You people are more than anything. My son's this younger generation is looking up, and you know what they're seeing more than anything? Because they, of course, don't have the complete intellectual understanding of what's going on, but this is what they very well can make determination. They look up to the next generation and they say they are unhappy. They're miserable. They're destroying their bodies. They have piercings and gaps in their ears and lips and noses. They've riddled their body with like a crayon. They look grotesque. They're miserable. They're overweight. There is a change. Will that change happen fast enough? I don't know. But I do know that this can't continue. You can be an atheist. You can be whatever you want. That's fine. Fine with me. That's your discussion with God. Would I love you to find Jesus and be a Christian and go to heaven? Absolutely. Even the worst of the worst, turn their life around, repent, say they're sorry, earnestly. Who am I to say, no, you can't. No, that's not my job. But if you think that this world was created out of a mud puddle, an explosion, then there was a mud puddle, and then there was a tadpole, and then all of a sudden we are here, and there's no God. That's so narcissistic. I can't even imagine being so self-absorbed that you think that this is all of this incredible engineering was created out of nothing. And that when you go down that road, now you can destroy God's natural order because God doesn't exist. Women need to be masculine. Men need to be bending the knee in the family. Oh, and then we're all sitting around shocked that our world is upside down, that our politicians are thieves and cheaters, the people that run our companies are thieves and cheaters, that they're spraying our skies with chemicals and metals, they're seeding our skies, and now we have floods. Our healthcare is a joke. The doctors are getting money and kickbacks from the pharmaceuticals to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to $1 million plus. That we open the borders. Tim Burkhead of Tennessee in congressional testimony yesterday asked the Census Bureau chief, I think that's his title, said, do you count illegal aliens in the census? And his answer was, yes, we do. We count every one of them. We live in a world of lies. We live in a world filled with liars. The title of my show and why I was looking forward to this all day is, who are we as a nation? That's an important question to ask, because I don't think we have an identity. I think if you ask 100 people are going to give you 100 different answers. You can't survive like that. Who are we? And then the follow-up question is, who do we want to become? What do we want to be as a nation? One thing that has to happen is we have got to get this. There's no way that we revive our nation by itself without a spiritual revival. There is no way. It can't happen absent of each other. It just can't, because there's so much evil, so much evil in our country, so many people making billions of dollars off the backs of us, destroying our way of life. I mean, every single day that I begin to research and I watch like Tucker Carlson and interview people, I realize how grotesquely ignorant I am and how much catch up that I have to do. And I'm not bagging on me. I'm not bagging on you, the viewer. Part of my point is there's so much fraud, waste, and abuse, so much propaganda, so many lies that it's like I have to peel back everything that I learned throughout my life. Let me give you just something I just learned right before I came on the show today, because I have not finished Tucker Carlson's latest interview with the man who is now, he's an incredible economist, and he said to Tucker Carlson fell out of his seat, and I did too. When we went to war with Germany, we created the Federal Reserve. Do you know who ran the Federal Reserve in Germany? His name was, I believe, Warburg. Let's just say his name was Max. I think it was Max. Do you know who created and ran the Federal Reserve in the United States of America at the exact same time that his brother was running the Federal Reserve and created it in Germany? Well, that would be his brother Paul. Does it make sense now? The men are going to have to get righteous. The women and wives are going to have to be righteous and fall in line. And one of those clips that I showed was I want to say it looks like she's Middle Eastern descent, darker skin, not the Irish woman who I love too. But the other lady I played in this clip, she said it perfectly. If the man submits to Christ and the church, then he becomes righteous. And then the woman submits to the man and she becomes righteous. The woman is not submitting to the man, she's submitting to Christ. Now you have the man and the woman together, husband and wife, submitting to God. Now, if we have that, we don't have infidelity. We don't have economic disaster between them. We're raising children aligned in God's natural order and God's laws. Can you tell me what's wrong with that? Can anybody tell me? Or a better question is this. Go ask a husband or wife that is going through divorce because the husband or wife had an affair and broke and destroyed everything. Or go ask the husband and wife that are aligned with God and ask them, or don't even ask. Why don't you know? Because we all know people that are going through massive heartache and divorce. And we also know couples that are aligned with God and their lives seem very beautiful. Why don't you just step back and look at and say, which life do I want? Do I want one that's aligned with God, or do I want one that is aligned with secular beliefs? It's very easy. You can have pain and suffering, or you can have beauty, happiness, and bliss. Now, happiness and bliss in this marriage over here with God, it's not easy. It's never going to be easy, but it's going to be easier. It's going to be better than absolute. That's hell. That infidelity, destruction, the explosion of your life and your children's lives, that's hell. Before I bring in my guest, and I did this why I have Kim Yater come on, because I want to hear her perspective as a woman about what I'm talking about and how that relates to our country. Before I do, I want to, our sponsor for this hour, or excuse me, for this segment, before we bring Kim Yater on, is sat123.com, sat123.com. Look, you need to be prepared. You can be whatever you want. I'm prepared because I'm looking down the road at government takeover. I'm just going to be very honest with you. That's how my worldview is. If you don't want to go down that road and you just want to be, hey, there's a lot of natural disasters or man-made, I want to be prepared. Let's take a look at what just happened 2 days ago. The tsunami in Japan and Russia, and then Hawaii got dinged and everyone freaked out. Cell towers, can you imagine? Everyone's on the phone. You can't even get through. You can't get through. It was gridlock. You couldn't go anywhere for hours. How great would it be to have a sat phone to call your wife or your son or your family and say, this is emergency. Let's go to our rendezvous point. This is where I'm going to be. You need to be there in 30 minutes and we're going to be able to escape. What if you didn't have that and you're sitting there hitting send, play, call, please, some text, can't get anything? You need to be prepared. I think everything's about being prepared. I think everything is about believing in God, trusting that he's going to take care of you, but God doesn't want you to be some nim-witted moron that just sitting here going, please, somebody help me. No, he gave you a brain. He wants you to be prepared. He wants you to be ready to fight. And this is one of the ways. This is why I partner with them. Sat123.com. There's the number on the screen, sat123.com/JJ. All right. I need a shot of hope, but I just need someone that I can talk to that I trust. And then I want to dive into this topic that I'm talking about today, because it is behind every problem we have in America. Kim Yater, how are you doing today?
Morning, JJ Carroll. It is a beautiful day in the midst of a crazy world, but it's a great day. I'm so happy to be here with you.
What do you think about, I know you were in the quote green room watching for a little while. What do you think as a woman, as a Christian woman, and you're a wife and a mother, am I saying anything that brushes you the wrong way as a man speaking about masculinity and the role of men and women?
I'll tell you what, I'm in the back room and I'm sure Logan is watching me go, yes, 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 that's so good. Spot on. You know, it's funny because when we look at the word submission, if we look at it in a worldly way, we see this over you and man over woman, right? That's what we see, but that's not what God's submission is. Let's think of it. A woman is submitting under a man's mission. His mission is to serve God. That's the calling, that he follows the word. And so she is, yes, submitting to God, but she's submitting under the mission of her husband, which is God's mission. And that's why it's so important to be aligned with somebody that shares that mission. I'll tell you what, there's a lot of homes right now that are broken, JJ, and you touched on it for sure. So why is that happening? The world, the United States of America, is a reflection right now of what's happening in the family. We know that reverse engineering it, they began to break down the family. So if we're going to give power back to the family, if we're going to take the nation back, it starts with us individually, right? So we've got to submit to God. You know, the Bible says to submit to one another out of reverence for Christ. But first, we submit to our Maker, and to submit to our Maker is just surrender it, saying, God, you know what? I'm not going to rely on my own understanding. I'm going to rely on you. I'm going to seek you with all my heart. I'm not going to have an idol before you. I'm not going to put, my TV, my games, my business, all the things I'm doing before you. I am going to make you my God. I'm going to surrender to you. I'm going to listen to your voice, walk in step with you. And I'll tell you what, God drops those downloads. It's an intimate relationship. This is not religion. This is real. It is tangible. Talk about rescuing us from the muck and the mire. We're in the midst of the muck and the mire here in the United States right now. So, JJ, if we begin to take our power back right here in our everyday life right here, tell you what, submitting under God, submitting in that relationship, allowing ourselves to be taught, any discipline coming our way. Love how he says, discipline, like all of us go through discipline, but in that process of going through discipline, God will use that for our good if we allow ourselves whatever we're going through, whatever Satan throws at us, God will use it for our good. So if we surrender in our way, and we submit ourselves. I'm not kidding. A woman wants a man to lead. We hunger, we thirst for our man to lead, but we want our man to lead as a warrior that leads for the Creator, because we know that through him, we can do all things. So I love it. If we take our power back in this arena, the family's going to shift, and we're going to begin to say, you know what? I need to stand up. I need to speak up for righteousness and stand for justice, and hold every leader accountable. Because first, I'm going to take responsibility and hold myself accountable to God, his word, and the life he calls me to.
When you say that, as you're speaking, I'm thinking, if men and women, if we got realigned into God's natural order and we were able to solidify the family and raise the family up instead of mocking it through cartoons and through sitcoms and movies, and we elevated the man and the woman and the children, there's alignment, I believe America will begin to shift. But we're so far off, and I just have a couple videos that I want to show you, because and at first when you watch what the videos that I picked, I think the average person will say, well, what the hell does that have to do with what they're talking about? It has everything to do. We're so disordered, Kim, in our lives that when we live in this disorder, it becomes chaos. Chaos becomes survival mode, and then we can't see our hand in front of our face. Like, we can't see tomorrow or the next day. We're like, how do I fix this? And as we're doing that, the powerful have changed our nation. They've changed it. That it's and people say, well, maybe that's a little hyperbole. Okay, I say, when someone says, well, I go, okay, stop. If I take you back in a time machine 10 years ago, in 2015, and I tell you what's happening right in 2025, back then you would say to me, you are a mental patient. There is no way that's going to happen. And then when we do that, it's like a light bulb goes off in their head and they're like, that's not hyperbole. They've changed our nation. Yes. And I'm going to show you one way they've done it. The one way they've done it, as America struggles financially. America is struggling in this economy because they can't get ahead. Everyone's working more hours, working a second job, and their dollar has become less, while the wealthy have become wealthier. People that go into Congress with basically nothing are millionaires living like kings and queens. Here's the first person I want to show you. This is Jake Tapper talking to Nancy Pelosi about her illegality and her husband in the backdoor trading. Go ahead and play this for me, please, Logan.
Nancy Pelosi became rich.
Why do you have to read that? We're here to talk about the 60th anniversary of Medicaid. That's what I agreed to come to talk about.
Yeah, but I wanted
what that means in the election.
I wanted to give you a chance just to respond. He accused you of insider trading. What's your response to that?
That's ridiculous. In fact, I very much support the stop the trading of members of Congress. Not that I think anybody's doing anything wrong. If they are prosecuted and they go to jail. But because of the confidence it instills in the American people, don't worry about this. But I have no concern about the obvious investments that had been made over time. I'm not into it. My husband is, but it isn't anything to do with anything insider.
Do you make the connection, that same connection I make watching that video, thinking about disorder and chaos connected to people that are running our country that are so grotesquely evil and corrupt?
I'm shocked by that video. I mean, this is such an example of not taking responsibility. And, I was talking to my husband this morning, and we were discussing this video, and we were talking about, I think of you're in a car, you're driving, right? Maybe you're a young adult, you're a teenager, and you've got people in the car that you've got a couple of open beer cans, but you're the driver. You're not drinking those beer cans. You get pulled over by the cops because maybe you rolled through a stop sign, right? Cop looks in the car. What does he see? He sees an open can of beer. Now, the driver says, well, but that's not me. I'm not drinking the beer. That's them. What is that cop going to say? He's going to say, hello, you're responsible. You're in charge of that vehicle. So the fact that she's pushing this off, like, oh, that's my husband, I'm not involved in it. I mean, first of all, wakey, people. This is corruption at best. It is deception at best. It is gaslighting. So there are deeper societal issues here. There's a reluctance to address certain truths in the culture of softness among men. So this is one of the things, JJ, you and I were talking about behind the scenes, right? So I want to share something with you. If we're going to confront this, then we need to confront our nation as God's people. If we're going to take our power back, not as the way the world thinks, but I want to share this scripture with you, right? It says, and we've all heard it. We've heard it a million times. For all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Romans 3:23. So this verse reminds us that sin is everywhere. Sin permeates every single aspect of humanity. It's blatant, it's in our face, right? Including our institutions, our leaders, yet it also points to a higher standard, a glory we are called to pursue. So if anything, the dark will become darker before the light begins to truly shine. Because where does the light shine the brightest? In the darkness. So these are examples. If anything, they should infuriate us, JJ, just like they do to you. But the infuriation should cause not anger, not resentment, not bitterness, not hatred. It should cause a righteous indignation where we take responsibility and say, I've allowed this on my watch, and I'm going to do whatever I can to take my power back by starting right here, holding myself accountable. Stop pushing it off on other people. Own it, lay it down before the cross, and then take action. Truly take action. I believe that's what's going to give us the ability to take our power back.
Just so our audience is clear, we're talking about Nancy Pelosi. She's worth over $250 million. She makes $175,000 to $200,000 a year. Average throughout her career, I would say it's probably about $130,000 a year. Her husband has a 20-year, year-over-year better average of trading and investing than the greatest trader investor in the history of America, Warren Buffett.
Yeah.
And her husband is not a trader. So I want to go on to the next video. And the reason why I want this is because I think sexual perversion is absolutely tied to this chaos and disorder in our world.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And I want you to listen to this interviewer talk to Bernie Sanders about Ghislaine Maxwell, and listen to watch his body language. I want you, in my audience, I want you to watch his body language as he bristles and then he lies. Why would you bristle and lie about something like this? Go ahead, Logan, play this, please.
Would you be okay with Congress giving her immunity to testify? That's what she wants.
I haven't thought about it. I don't know the answer to that.
No position.
You're the first person who has asked me about it.
Okay, well, when you have a position, will you let us know?
You'll be the first.
Senator Bernie Sanders, we always appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That lady, Caitlin, is disgusting. However, does that man look like a man that just saw a ghost? Like, he tried to be cool, but he saw something he didn't like.
Yes.
Do you agree that the sexual perversion, the pedophilia, more specifically the pedophilia, is absolutely tied to all of this mess that we're living in?
Oh my gosh, peel back the layers and that's what you're going to find. First of all, Satan is the father of discord and division. Okay, laying that out. Now, I got to tell you something, and this is a tough one. You know, as a citizen journalist, right? We do a lot of research. We hear a lot of stories, and we've got to always vet where the information is coming from. So I'm still in the process of vetting a few conversations that I've had with a Epstein victim. And I haven't done a show on this yet, JJ. And I'm just going to say this. They will use the children, and they will make the leaders force people that are put in positions to do things with these children under great duress to hold them in places of power, to hold them, hold their families over them. And Bernie Sanders is one of those people in question right now. The question is, was he forced to do something? Was he forced to do something under great duress with a threat of his family?
And I've heard the same whispers.
Yes. And so that is a concern. And we haven't, reported on this just yet because we're still in the process of really vetting that. And I'll tell you what, the Epstein victim said to me, she was right there in that space with him as what was occurred with another child. And he was weeping. This is the story. And to this day, it has left a huge impact on her with him, because her heart goes out to this man, because he's just used as a pawn and being held captive with a threat of his family being killed. Now, this is what we've heard on the back end. Is it true? This is all being vetted. So when I see that, it rips through me, and it shows us where our nation is at. And JG, if we're going to take our nation back, I say this all the time. I said it to take our border back. We've got to submit. We've got to surrender, just like you opened this up with, right? And in 2 Chronicles 7:14, it's a call to our nation. It's a call to every single one of us. And we got to take it to heart. And he says, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves, seek my face, turn from their wicked ways and pray, I will hear their voice, forgive their sins, and heal their land. It starts the healing of our land, our temple right here, and then the healing all around us. That's what we can do to take our power back. That's what we can do to take our country back, is we got to start right here, JJ. That doesn't mean that we don't take action out here. Yeah, we absolutely take action. We don't wait for the Epstein files to be released. We don't wait for the JFK files to be released. We don't wait. What the heck happens in waiting? You're useless in waiting. You do what you can with what you have. You seek God for the wisdom and the discernment, and you are mightily in action, taking your power back on a local level. You start with your family, and then you move to your community, and in your city, your county, your state, you bloom where you're planted. That's the power that we all have the ability to do that with God.
Yep. I have one other video I want to show, and this is a difficult topic. I don't have any problem talking about it because I believe it's exploding. I have been reporting on this for months now, actually years, but in this space that I have done in Worldview 2 for months. And that is the massive black on white violence, black destruction of cities and communities and stores and cruise ships and on and on and on. This is part of the chaos that they created. The belief within a certain race that they can do whatever they want and you're never going to be punished. White people are running scared, literally running scared, and this is a video of 15 seconds. And I chose it because we've seen all the violent fights in Cincinnati. We've seen the mobs taking over stores, their cars racing and hitting people, killing people on the streets. But I thought this was powerful because there's no reason to do this except you hate your society, you hate your nation, you hate your people, and you want to flex your power. And I want at the same time, even though I'm looking at the setup of this clip, there's a little baby in a high chair, but I want you to watch what this man does at a Cold Stone Creamery and watch the people do nothing. That's what's shocking more than anything. Go ahead and play this, Logan, please.
Nothing beats a Jet2 holiday. And right now, you can save £50 per person. That's £200 off for a family of 4. We've got millions of free child place holidays available, with 22 kilograms of baggage included.
Kim, you talk about get involved. That is just a snippet of thousands of videos of blacks in America absolutely destroying property, killing Americans, violent assaults across our nation. This isn't, and I know I can hear it in the back of my head. You're a racist. You're a big white guy. You're from X, Y, and Z. No, you want to attack the messenger. You can't handle the message. It's like me going in front of Congress and saying, there's thousands of people, young kids being raped right now as I'm talking. Oh, well, you're a racist. What does that have to do with anything? Okay, let's play the game, Kim. I'm a racist. Oh, and I'm a xenophobe, and I'm patriarchy, and I hate women. Okay, fine. Explain to me what I just said. Anything is factually incorrect. I see this as financial destruction by stealing our money, being a thief. I'm looking at Bernie Sanders with the sexual perversion, the pedophilia, and the other part of this giant chaotic scheme is this balkanization of America, of races, ethnicities, nationalities being balkanized. And then I see the chaos, the violence, and that is what's leading us to this road of who are we? What are we in America now? Do you see the same connections I do with this last part of it?
Yeah, it's shocking to see that, but it's not, because I don't care what color this guy was, purple, pink, yellow, green, it doesn't matter. We have a standard. We have laws in place. We have justice. Now, the fact is, all that people were thinking in that moment is somebody crazy has entered this space. I need to protect my baby. I need to get away from him. It triggers fight, flight, or freeze, right? And I can't imagine the woman who's standing behind the counter, like, what the heck do I do? Do I, do I call the police right now? Do I wait? Does he have a gun? Like all the things going through your mind, right, in that situation. But the reality is any of us could have been in that space. So what would we do in that space? Are we making a judgment that this is all Black people, that Black people act this way? No, the reality is there is entitlement in every nationality, but the narrative is they are feeding this African-American Black entitlement. We've got to pay reparations back to them for the slavery and the harm that we've caused them. It is sick. It is not, this will never, ever work. We've got to turn our way back to God. Gigi, it sounds so like, okay, Kim says the same thing all the time. She's saying the same thing, but the reality is nothing is going to change until we hold our leaders accountable. And in that situation, we've got to change the narrative. We need to own all the 7 areas of influence. We need to own the media as one of those areas of influence, because the media has owned us, has fed the narrative, and people have been drinking the Kool-Aid for a long time. So they're in this cognitive dissonance. So how do we get out of it? We put God back in his rightful place in this nation. That's the only way to do it. So is it normal for you to feel what you're feeling? 100%, JJ, and you're not a racist. What's happening is wrong, and they are targeting African Americans to cause the chaos, division, and discord. You look for where the weakness is. Now, does it mean that Black people are weak because I say there's a weakness? No, they have been creating the narrative, keeping them in a victim mentality. And when you keep people in a victim mentality, you can control them. You're the hero, right? So it is sick and twisted. It's got to change. And all I know is on my watch what I can do. And I don't know about you, JJ. I'd be curious, JJ, what would you do in that situation? I did think of, I could have put him in a lock hold. I had these things going through my mind, JJ, but what would you do in that situation?
I've already been in those situations, so I know exactly how I would react. I'll give you an example. And this is one of the times that I felt was so ashamed of the men that were around me. So my son, and we live in Southern California, and my son loves skateboarding, scooter, bikes. He's like an X Game kid. So I'd spend hours at this skate park, beautiful skate park in Southern California. And these 3 thugs come in, and they start doing all kinds of stuff. And I see the sheriff roll up, and I watch, and I'm sitting there watching, and I say, I'm thinking to myself, where's his backup? There's 3 guys. Now the 3 guys start to circle him. And as this, I'm watching all the fathers, all the dads there, and I know all the dads, firemen, etc., big guys, and I jump up and I run over there and I flash because I came off of work, I flashed my credentials, said, hey, I'm Border Patrol, law enforcement, I got your back till your backup gets here. They start to move in. I take the biggest guy and I choke him down like a bull and choke him down to the ground. Then the cop has to fight the other 2. And I'm on the ground with a guy that is bigger than, I'm 6'3", 230, and this guy's 6'5", about 275. And I got him hogtied. And I remember telling him, if you try to fight me, I'm going to choke you out and kill you. It's your choice. You can either lay down like this, like a dog, and take it, or I'm going to choke you out and die. And as I'm doing that, Kim, I'm watching all of the fathers scared to do anything. The cop is fighting for his life, and I'm yelling, will anybody help him? No one helps. That is the world we live in. So when you ask me what would I do, that moron would be choked out. And I would whisper in his ear, just like I did the other guy, you have a choice. You can keep fighting, and I'm gonna lock down tighter until I choke the life out of you. Your choice. I'm gonna let you make that decision. But until men begin to act like men, this will never change. If men do not act like men, people like Bernie Sanders will go, I don't know anything about pedophilia. What are you talking? That's the first time I've heard of that. What? That's the first time you heard about Maxwell talking? Oh, okay. Right. I believe you, Bernie. Until men start acting like men and go and take Nancy Pelosi and her husband and physically throw them in jail, nothing's going to change. All right, so you got me all worked up, Kim. I thought you were supposed to calm me down, but you got me all worked up. So before I let you go, this is important. And I know this is our sponsor, and I know this is a company that you and I both are affiliated with. But this is part of the puzzle of taking your power back. This is part of the puzzle. When you look at the companies we buy our products from, they're funding this, Kim. They're funding the Planned Parenthood, the Black Lives Matter, the pesticides in our food, the new, what is it, a glee that Bill Gates is spraying all over our food that makes it like plastic. It's insane. So what do? Do you keep paying money or to those companies, those box stores, or do you go to our sponsor, patriotsmade.com? So I want to give you, I got 60 seconds. I want to give you at least 60 seconds to tell my audience, why are you involved? Why do you push this product to your audience as well as why do I?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, JJ, first off, I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I think we all get to this point where we're like, oh my gosh, I've tried everything and I'm not really getting results. That's number one. That was what turned me on to what USA Today called America's best named brand, our Patriots Made resource, right? That was step one. I didn't know that I was giving my power away. I had no idea. By shopping with the big box retailers and supporting Procter & Gamble, Colgate-Palmolive, Johnson & Johnson, and Unilever, I did not know that all of those poisons, kind of like what you're talking about with Bill Gates, these are the poisons that are heavy metals going into our bodies, with our skin being the biggest organ of our body. I didn't know that's why we were getting sick all the time. I didn't know that's why our immune system was weak. I didn't know that's why my daughter had allergies and why I had eczema. And I didn't know how to be pain-free with the resources I was utilizing until I tapped into Patriots Made. Patriots Made gave me and hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people now, their power back by switching from the big box retailers that feed into the pharmaceutical industry that keep us sick to we switched to an American-made manufacturer that makes products that you'd use every day that are better, safer, and less expensive. You know the coolest thing? I'm not feeding Jeff Bezos. I'm not feeding the Wally family or Target, right? I am feeding farmers, ranchers, patriots, ministries, people like you and me. This is about the little guy. And if we begin to take our power back on that local level, like we're talking about, what we can be in control of, because we can be in control of what we put in our body, what we surround ourselves with. And I'll tell you what Patriots made was one of the best decisions. So Valerie, one of your girls who's listening right now, Susan, Gerald, JJ, they are calling us and saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for telling us about this. This is making a tremendous difference in my well-being and in my pocket. So JJ, patriotsmade.com/JJ. For your audience, one of our experts will reach out to tailor this to your wellness needs. That's why I took my power back. No more allergies for my daughter, no more eczema for me, and no more pain in 20 years. No surgery. Come on. I say thank you, Jesus, and thank you to our Patriots Made resource.
Thank you, Kim Yater. You can follow her at takeyourpowerbackshow.com. Kim, thank you so much for always coming on once a week. Give me a shot of hope, and at the same time, just to have a conversation with someone that is aligned with your thinking, not agreeing with me just to agree with me, but someone that's aligned and shares the same beliefs. And I think that is if you want to call it fellowship, friendship, we need to be able to talk more openly and more boldly to each other. Yes. And when you do that, you're going to find out there's more and more people that think just like us and that are realizing I have to make a change because what I have been doing is not working. So why not try something different? Why not just, hey, follow the 10 commandments. Let's see how that works for a month. If I just did that, right?
Yes.
Let's do it. Everyone says, let's do a 30-day challenge. Okay, this is a challenge I'm going to do myself. 30-day challenge on the 10 commandments. Just do the 10 commandments. You want to curse?
Good.
You want to punch somebody? Don't punch them. Don't curse. Don't steal. Don't slander. Don't gossip. Holy cow. Okay, that's a big challenge. All right, I challenge you, Kim. I'll be on it too. Every week I'm going to check in with you.
We have the ability to shape our future, JJ, guided by God's word. So let's choose to be a nation that seeks God's face, upholds his truth, and becomes a blessing to the world. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Kim Yater, thank you so much, ma'am. Have a great day.
God bless you. Love you, JJ.
God bless you. Thank you. Kim Yater, she's the best. She's always going to give you a shot of truth, which I think is more important than anything. Is just someone that's going to be honest with you. Kim Yater, takeyourpowerbackshow.com. She's a force of nature, that Kim Yater. All right. We'll go from that to DEI hires. Oh, I love talking about this, especially in law enforcement. In fact, I was just talking to a buddy of mine in ATF yesterday, and he sounded like me 15 years ago in the Border Patrol, just exasperated because of the stupidity that rises to the top. Look, I have family and friends, Secret Service, FBI, ATF, DEA, you name it, you name the state and local and federal departments and agencies. I know people intimately in all of those. And it's interesting, as I'm talking to my buddy from the ATF yesterday, we all have the same criticisms. They're the same. That's impossible, but it's true. And one of the main critiques is the people in charge, are grotesquely incompetent. They're cowardly. They've never done the job. And the other thing is no one can explain to each other how that individual got to that position of authority, because even the most gracious person, the kindest person, somebody that would never say anything bad about anybody, those people, even they would look at that person and go, how did that person get into a position of authority? I'm going to show you one right now. Can you pull her up? I'm going to do, this is the chief of police in Maine, okay? Why am I pulling up this lady, the chief of police in Maine? Because she hired an illegal alien from Jamaica to be a police officer. Yep, I said that right. And then that illegal alien, because why not? He carries a firearm on duty, which is a felony. Illegal aliens cannot have firearms. It's a felony. It's a add-on to your crime. So if you go and you beat someone up or you steal something, or I'm going to tack that felony onto everything else that you had in possession of a firearm as illegal alien. But this dim-witted woman, and there's a theme to this too. Why are all these incompetent women in charge of masculine, type A, violent men, police officers? Doesn't make any sense. Well, this illegal alien from Jamaica wants to have a firearm. Why not? I carry one on duty. So he goes and tries to purchase a firearm. ATF gets alerted. They come and arrest him. They had to arrest a police officer from Maine because he's an illegal alien from Jamaica. And this dumb broad hired him. Let's go down this line. Let's look at the Cincinnati chief of police. You have that video you can pull up, Logan? Just show a few seconds of it if you could, please.
Social media and journalism and the role it plays in this incident. And yes, guys, that's you. That is you. Social media.
You can stop it from there,
that we've
Logan.
Seen does not depict the entire incident.
Logan, can you just stop it right there? I want to look at her as I talk. So blacks in Cincinnati were randomly attacking and brutalizing whites. And this grandmother, who should be baking cookies and hanging out with her grandchildren, is in charge of the police department in Cincinnati. I'm telling you, listen to me. I'm a guy that was a senior leader. I was a guy down in the trenches, all the way in between. I know all of my buddies, all of these people that work in these state and local and federal positions. There's not a single person in her department that looks at her and says, that's my leader. Not one. Not one. She's grotesquely incompetent. How? If I just showed you a picture and I just took that off and put her like in a Sunday dress, and I said, tell me what her profession is. Go ahead. I'll give you 10 chances. You're not even going to get close to chief of police. School teacher, supermarket worker, nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying. Some retail, retired grandma, she's a baker. No, she's chief of police. Oh, come on, man. You're pulling my chain. Come on. No. That old woman is in charge of hundreds, if not 1,000 or more thousand police officers. That's not enough. Let me show you my favorite of all. My favorite of all. The New Orleans where I grew up, chief of police. Look at this grandma. Hey, grandma, how about some chocolate chip cookies and some nice warm milk? How about that? No. I have to go lead hundreds and thousands of men that have to take care of our city. What? No, grandma. Go ahead and play this, Logan.
Madam, do you acknowledge that you let the victims down by not having an appropriate security plan?
Oh, that's not correct. That's not correct. We would disagree with that. We had
a plan that allowed an attacker to drive into a crowd.
And I take exception to that, and I do not agree with that.
That has to be a failure.
We do know that people have lost their lives. But if you're
You
experienced
can stop that, Logan, if you don't mind, and just put her next to me. Can you just put her up? It just so the audience can see it. I mean, it's just, again, I'm going to okay, right there, just keep a picture. Hey, everybody, what does this woman do for a living? I take all of her police stuff off. There's nobody saying she's the chief of police of a major city, a major violent city. Cincinnati's a major violent city. And you have grandma. You have grandma. There is not one law enforcement officer in Cincinnati and New Orleans that gives a crap that this lady's in charge. No one is looking at her and going, please give me advice on how to be a police officer. I need your leadership. Your leadership, your words are so powerful. Yes, please help me. No, they're going, hey, grandma needs to talk to you. Oh, yeah. I got to sit there and act like she's in charge. I got to act like she has 2 cents. Like she has any ability to do law enforcement, has any understanding of what the hell's going on. Unbelievable. And everyone wonders, and everyone says, why is the violence so bad? Why is the violence so bad? It's because the people doing the violence are not afraid of grandma. I'm going to go all the way back to the beginning of the show. The question I have, who are we as a nation? And the follow-up question, what kind of nation do you want to become? I don't like who we are now, and I do not like who we're going to become.
Welcome to Technocracy News with your host, Patrick Wood. I am your co-host, Logan House. Today we have your smart meter is a tool of mass surveillance. Then we have Besant calls for fundamental reset for Federal Reserve. And lastly, we have technocrat sweep U.S. health officials, tech executives to launch data sharing plan. How are you doing today, Patrick?
I'm doing great. I just said before we started,